Kobe Bryant was without a doubt one of the greatest basketball players to touch a basketball. Known to many as a Jordan replica, Kobe completely mastered the game of basketball. Besides being one of the greatest scorers ever, Kobe was an excellent defender, leader, and clutch performer. But even with all these elements in his game, perhaps the one thing that differentiates Kobe from every other NBA great was his work ethic. And Kobe's work ethic was second to none, completely unparalleled. Kobe throughout his career was known as the guy who was the first one in the gym, even if that meant getting to the gym at 4 in the morning, and the last one to leave the gym.
Okay, so if your job is to try to be the best basketball player you can be, right? To do that, you have to practice, you have to train, right? You want to train as much as you can, as often as you can. So if you get up at 10 in the morning, train at 11, right? 12, say 12, train at 12, train for 2 hours, 12 to 2. You have to let your body recover. So you eat, recover, whatever. You get back out, you train, start training again at 6. Train from 6 to 8, right? And now you go home, you shower, you eat dinner, you go to bed, you wake up, you do it again, right? Those are 2 sessions, right? Now imagine you wake up at 3, you train at 4, you go 4 to 6, come home, breakfast, relax, blah, blah, blah. Now you're back at it again, 9 to 11, right? You relax, and now all of a sudden you're back at it again, 2 to 4, and now you're back at it again, 7 to 9. Look how much more training I have done by simply starting at 4, right? And so now you do that, and as the years go on, the separation that you have with your competitors and your peers just grows larger and larger and larger and larger and larger. And by year 5 or 6, doesn't matter what kind of work they do in the summer, they're never going to catch up.
And this work ethic would eventually become what is known as the Mamba mentality, which in simple terms essentially means willing yourself to greatness no matter the circumstances. But somehow, despite all his accolades and impact on the game, Kobe Bryant has become one of the most underappreciated stars in the history of basketball. Does anyone remember in the early 2010s when the GOAT debate actually used to be MJ, Kobe, and LeBron? Is that just me? Okay, well, let me remind you. During the period when the Lakers were still competing for championships in the early 2010s, one could claim Kobe Bryant as their greatest ever, and you wouldn't even be looked at weird. But for some reason, over the past decade, people have seemed to forget just how great Kobe Bryant was. And I think a reason for this is the social media age. In this age, NBA fans, particularly younger fans, have become obsessed with ring culture, accolades, and just crazy numbers. And this makes sense because newer NBA stars have been known to put up ridiculous numbers. Guys such as Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Stephen Curry, and Giannis Antetokounmpo have completely redefined versatility in the NBA. With the way these guys are capable of doing so much on the court while also putting up ridiculous numbers, the average viewer kind of views these guys as some other tier of basketball player. So I think that maybe some people aren't moved by Kobe Bryant's counting numbers, although it's hard to fathom being unimpressed by Kobe's numbers from the 2000s. Another reason I think people have forgotten about Kobe's greatness is this notion that he was carried by Shaq. Firstly, Shaquille O'Neal was definitely the man on the Lakers, and he rightfully won 3 Finals MVPs during his championship run. But Kobe was no slouch. The fact is, the two needed each other to win those championships, and there's a reason why the Kobe-Shaq 1-2 punch Lakers are the last team in NBA history to three-peat. And that was more than 20 years ago. Because since then, we've seen some incredible NBA teams. The Miami Heat Big Three, the Super Team Warriors, the Bron Kyrie Cavs, and even the Spurs. And none of these teams have managed to three-peat. And I don't think fans understand just how difficult it is to win 3 championships in a row, so this feat should not be taken lightly. Kobe Bryant seems to be one of those players who, if you watched him while he was at the peak of his ability, you seem to rank him very highly. Whether it's players such as Jason Tatum, Isaiah Thomas, Devin Booker, Kyrie Irving, DeMar DeRozan, who rate Kobe very highly as these guys grew up during the Kobe era, or old heads who watched during those years, people who closely watched him during his career think of him very highly. But when it comes to the younger generations, I've seen some people go as far as to say that Kobe isn't even a top 10 player of all time. And everyone, of course, is entitled to their opinion, but to me that is just blasphemy. Few, if any, NBA players have completely mastered the game of basketball, especially on both ends of the court. And as a person who values defense, I would argue that it is hard to name even 3 two-way legends better than Kobe Bryant. In my eyes, only Michael Jordan was a better two-way player than Kobe Bryant, and the argument can be made for Hakeem Olajuwon as well, but I rank Kobe higher just because he had more playoff success. And Kobe, during his 20-year career, had 12 defensive team selections, which is tied for second most with Kevin Garnett, and number one evidently was none other than the great Tim Duncan. I also think that most people overlook just how impressive it was for Kobe to be achieving such scoring feats during the 2000s, which proper NBA fans will tell you is one of the toughest defensive eras in basketball history. In fact, in order to discredit Kobe Bryant, people will often bring up his shooting percentages or the fact that he has the most missed shots in NBA history. But truthfully, his shooting percentages don't tell the full story. Kobe Bryant mastered his craft to the point where he would take some of the most difficult contested shots which, if other players were shooting them, they would be benched. But with Kobe shooting them, you know these shots have a chance of going in. I mean, there's a reason why, to this day, whenever you shoot a rolled up piece of paper into a wastebasket, you're still going to say Kobe. And again, Kobe was the ultimate three-level scorer. And although he may not have had the efficiency that Jordan or LeBron had, he was still the most feared scorer of his generation. The same efficiency argument is used by younger fans to discredit guys such as Allen Iverson, but he too was one of the most impressive players in NBA history. And in my opinion, the fact that Allen Iverson was giving guys 30 a night, being an under 6-foot player, is crazy, and it's ridiculous to look at his efficiency and determine that he was overrated or not that good, especially considering some of the teammates Allen Iverson had during his Sixers years. And seeing some of those teams and their lack of scoring threats, it is easy to see why Iverson was such a high volume shooter. Now, of course, player ranking lists are subjective, but in my opinion, at worst, Kobe Bryant is a top 7 player of all time. And of the players who I've watched in my lifetime, he's probably only second to LeBron James. And in my life, I've seen guys such as Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry. But in my opinion, Kobe Bryant trumps all these players. And in today's world, it's easy to use MVP awards as a metric to determine just how great guys are. So when you see guys like Steve Nash have 2, Tim Duncan had 2, Jokic has 2, and then you see a guy like Kobe Bryant who only has 1, I understand why some people underrate him. And even the fact that guys such as Tim Duncan, Dirk, Iverson, Shaq, and KG all got MVPs during Kobe's era, I can see that some people may confuse the fact that he actually did dominate this era. But I guarantee you, if you ask anyone who watched ball during the 2000s, they would tell you that Kobe was at least the first or second best player of the decade. Now, during the 2000s, Kobe did have his public feud with Shaq, and he underwent much scrutiny during his sexual assault case, which may have sullied his reputation, making the league reluctant to give him an MVP award. And those mid-2000s Lakers teams also didn't help. In fact, after the Shaq era, he had several years of playing with a bunch of scrubs. And it wasn't until the Lakers traded for Pau Gasol in 2008 when the Lakers would finally make some noise again. But you can see that the second Kobe was given a capable number 2 option for his team, along with several solid role players such as Andrew Bynum, Lamar Odom, and Derek Fisher, Kobe was more than capable of taking a team of competent players to the promised land. Another thing is that I think that in the eyes of many fans, Kobe can't rank that highly because his play style was too similar to the guy most people call the GOAT, Michael Jordan. But in my eyes, that is not even a knock on Kobe, and the fact that he patterned his game so much after MJ and actually made it work is impressive. I mean, 5 rings and 2 finals MVPs are not light achievements. And sure, after ranking guys such as LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, it's sort of a toss-up, ranking the NBA players who are in that top 5 to 7 range. But in my opinion, it's just disrespectful to say that Kobe Bryant is certainly outside of that range because, again, he has the longevity, the rings, the finals MVPs, and just the overall impact of the game and the impact of the youth with the Mamba mentality. And for a guy who literally personified basketball and hard work, and even had the achievements to go along with it, it's ridiculous to rank this guy low. I feel like Kobe Bryant, his legacy needs to be respected more in today's world, and people need to not forget just how good this guy was. And again, for those reasons, I think that Kobe Bryant is one of the most underappreciated NBA stars in recent history. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.